Hey, Dustin here, Smoking Eagles Rod Shop, back with another video for you. Now, if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? There's all kinds of action going on and you're missing it. Come on, you don't want to be that guy. Now, today we are going to be putting a cam in our 455 Buick in our burnout machine. Now, in order to do that, we've got to pull the radiator support, radiator fan, water pump housing, distributor, all these pulleys, oil pump. There's a ton of stuff that's got to come off this motor so I can try and shoehorn this cam in here without pulling the engine. We'll see if I can do it, and I'll show you guys how to do it. If you don't already know how, maybe you do. And you can let me know in the comments below everything I screw up along the way, and maybe give me some tips and tricks, because hey, race car knowledge is priceless, and I can always use a little bit of knowledge. So, yeah, let's get right in this, guys. I'm gonna get you right down in the belly of the beast here. So I've got this whole center section removed here. Sorry about the light. Got this whole center section removed here. I haven't pulled any of this stuff off yet. That's this piece here that runs the hood latch and all that crap, and it's all dangling out here. Now, to figure out how much room I need for this cam swap, this is how I'm gonna do it, or how I've attempted to do it. I simply took my cam box, measured it, it's 25 inches. So I know if I don't have at least 25 inches, now the cam's a little smaller than the box, clearly, it's in the box. If I don't have at least 25 inches, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to put this in there comfortably. I'm not trying to, like, you know, have to smack it with a dead blow to get it to fit. We know we need at least 25 inches from the front of the block where the cam goes in. So as you can see here, we've got a little bit of a lip right here to the timing cover housing slash water pump slash oil pump slash fuel pump slash distributor housing. You know, the thing that does it all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure essentially from that distributor bolt, which is pretty close to flush with the front edge of the block. I'm going to come out and look for 25 inches. And we've got 25 inches right. Oh, I lost it. Get back on there. As you can see, guys, we've got 25 inches right there, which gives us, I don't know, about another 3 or 4 inches before we get to the grill. So I think that's pretty generous as far as having space to slide this cam out and slide the new cam in. We should be able to go. When we pull the old one out, obviously, we'll know, and that's not ready yet. But that's how I figured out, you know, I just rough measured with a tape measure while all this junk was in here to see if it was even doable or what all I was really gonna have to do. You know, you may have to pull your bumper and grill and something else, you know, depending on what car you have. You know, you may have AC, condenser. I ripped all that crap out of this burnout car, so we don't have any of that stuff in our way. So, you know, it's just something to think about when you're determining whether you want to pull your engine or not to do a cam swap. Here's something I want to show you guys. So I just pulled the fuel pump off old Carmen here. And as you can see right here, that's oil directly on the end of the fuel pump arm. So that tells me that that cam is getting oil all the way out to the fuel pump. And when you see the way the cams are designed on these, that is a big deal. That tells me we got really good oil pressure and really good oil flow. That is definitely a good sign. Now I got the harmonic balancer pulled off. It came right off for me because I've had this off before. No big deal. Check this out, guys. It's not hardly leaking any oil out of the front of there. That seal on there that I got, the upgraded seal, works really good, even on my worn out harmonic balancer. Yeah, pretty impressed with that. Now, to get this housing off of here, the only bolts you got to take out are all these big 1/2-inch bolts. You don't have to mess with these little ones, leave the water pump on there, and you don't need to mess with this one because this is the alternator bracket bolt. But all these big ones got to come out, and then there's 4 across the bottom front edge of the pan we got to pull off, and then this whole thing should just pop right off of here. Keyword there, should. So I'm going to rip these bolts out, slide this out, we'll see what we got. So I've got all the bolts out of down below, got all the bolts here. The only thing holding this on really is the gasket. So let's see if I can get this to pop off of here and how much of a giant mess it's going to make on the floor. I'm going to throw a pan under it real quick. That should catch virtually none of it. That's always the way it goes. Grab me a little putty knife. Now let's see if we can walk this baby off of here without making a jumbo mess. I think I got them all the bolts, but that's always the tricky part. Well, that went right in there. I always feel like I'm missing a bolt somewhere. But I got all these bolts here, and there's nothing under the water pump. It's wiggling. It's free all the way around the top up here. Probably this down here that's stuck now. Ow! Bumper! Ow! Hood latch! Now, as you can imagine, this is exactly where I want to be when it pops free. Right down here at the pan. But yeah, I Permatex this pretty good. So the bottom of this wouldn't leak because they're prone to leaking right here. So, and of course I'm left-handed. Can't get a good angle on nothing. Whoa, easy there, guys. Why is it I'm acting like I ain't ever done this before? There it is. And everything in there looks really good. I don't see any catastrophic looking failures of anything I did. Here's my little cork gasket that I made. Yeah, our Permatex and everything looks really good all up around here. No leaks, no nothing. This is all jacked up from me and my putty knife. Getting this water jacket broke free and this one over here. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with the way this all worked out for us last summer, especially since we didn't know if this thing would even run. Now, this timing chain, as you can see, is nice and tight because it doesn't even have 20 gallons of fuel run through it. So we're going to be reusing that on our new cam. We need to get this timing gear off and slide the old cam out. I'm actually going to keep this cam laying around. It's a stock cam, or at least maybe we can measure it somehow and try and figure out what the grind is. Maybe somebody already put the cam in it that I'm about to put in it. I don't know. It's got a couple of dots on the end of it, so you never know. Maybe that's why this thing ran so good and had been tore apart before. No, that's never been done. Anyway, this needs to come off of here. And you can see we've got our dot at the top and our dot at the top, because I've got her on top dead center, or real close. Right there's number 1 piston, right there at the top. So everything's cool. We should be able to slide that off and slide it right back onto the new cam. There's all our old lifters. They're all still in there. So what I'll do is I'll just rotate this and slide them out one at a time. And then we will get rocking with the new cam. I got the front of this all cleaned up. Got all our gasket material off of there. I even put a little orange dot on our timing gear. And this timing gear over here. Got our little orange dot on there. Not that that really matters. Just makes it a little easier on the eyes visually. Got this all cleaned up on the back of here. Everything looks good to go. So all I've got to do is pull all these old lifters out and this cam. Like I said, I'm going to keep all this stuff. So yeah, I'm going to pull it all out and I'm going to line it all up on the bench just like it comes out of the engine. And then I'm going to come up with a way to mark it and put it back in the new package for the new cam lifters. That way, if I ever want to toss this cam back in another engine or something, let's say I find a motor somewhere and I need a cam, toss this baby in there because I know there's nothing wrong with it and it's mine. I would never buy a used cam like at a swap meet or something. Not my style, but I know this cam and I know these lifters. I know it's all good to go. So am I ever going to use it? Probably not, but if I was going to have to use one, I would trust this one over anything else. And nobody else is going to want to buy this used, so the best chance of it ever getting used again is me. So I'm going to toss it off to the side. Maybe I could toss it in that 430 over in the other room. You just never know. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So all I'm going to do essentially is, you can see I can grab that lifter because it's up. So I'm just going to rotate the crank or the cam. I'm just going to rotate the cam around. As you can see, the lifters all come up. So like this one will come up, I'll pull it out. This one will come up, I'll pull it out. Next one comes up, I'll pull it out. And so on and so forth. And then I'll set them over here on the bench. So there's one right there. And I'm just going to set it right there. And then I'll grab the next one. Boom, 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 boom. All the way down the line. And boom, 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 boom. All the way down the line. And then I'll set the cam right in the middle. And then I'll figure out how to mark them. Or maybe I'll just put them in the new package exactly the way they came out. And then I'll mark the package for the engine. That's what I'm going to do. So, here I go. Alright guys, so I really was looking at these cam bearings. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'll turn you around here. No, if you can really see up inside there. On the top side of that cam bearing. Oh yeah, there you can see it. It is pretty rough. Right up in here. Super gnarly. So, new cam bearings, 30 bucks. I'm not gonna waste all this time, money, and effort and destroy something over $30. So I'm gonna order these bearings, get them on the way. Not a big deal. I'll probably order a bearing puller and installer tool because I don't actually have one. I mean, I could borrow one. I'm sure I could find somebody that's got one and borrow it, or rent a tool or something. But yeah, maybe I'll see if I can find one on Amazon, get it, give you guys a little tool review or something on the channel. Get us a little extra content, and I'm sure I'll need it again at some point. Anyway, Unfortunately, I was hoping to get this cam in here today so I could move on to the heads, but it looks like I'm going to move on to the heads anyway. That's going to be a separate video, but yeah. So we're going to put this project on pause, and it's going to be 4 or 5 days for me, but it's only going to seem like a couple seconds for you guys, and I will see you back here real soon. We'll continue on this cam. All right, we are back, and we're finally ready to get this cam installed. Now, I've been waiting on parts for a while. I actually found our cam bearings on Amazon. I ordered 2 sets because the front bearing is different than all the other bearings, and I thought, man, if I don't have 2, I'm for sure gonna screw up the one. So, ordered 2 sets of those. Fingers crossed, nothing happens. I got the nicest one. They look like they got chewed up by a Rottweiler, which is not a good thing for bearings, but it is what it is. I also got this cam bearing tool because I'm going to be honest, I didn't have one. I decided not to rent one, drive around 100 places trying to rent one, return one, whatever, just buy it, right? I got it, and then later on when I need it again, it'll be on the shelf. So I'm going to pretend like I read these and understand exactly what they want us to do. I got a couple of fixes here and there, and I made the presidential solution or decision that I'm only going to change the front cam bearing because all the rest of them show signs of just a little bit of wear with your finger, but the front one has a visual groove in it, and it feels like sandpaper. So these big block Buicks are known to destroy front cam bearings, so that's the one that's bad. That's the one we're going to change because we got to get in the burnout pad in like 2 weeks. So enough of me yakking. I've already read the instructions. It looks like I need to use this piece here. They want me to put a little lube on it. WD-40, that'll work. They also want me to use this bigger spacer. And they want me to slide this down on here. Uh-oh, I'm making a mess. Now they want me to slide this down in here and line up the expanders. Just like so. You can see how I did that. The inside expander and the outside expander match so that they expand together. Then I need this big bearing pusher here. Then this should go on here like that. And then I just tighten this down until it grabs our bearing. But we've got to remove the old one first. So I need to get a wrench for this. I don't know how I'm going to tighten it up in the car. Probably just going to get this as close to snug as I can so that it just barely kind of slides on and off. And then I'll put this in there and tap the other bearing out. Hopefully it doesn't just try and shoot off the other end because I'm going to have to reach down in and pull it out from inside the engine. Let me go grab a wrench. Surely it's metric. Bada boom, bada bing. It's a 22. Oh yeah, it grabbed it right there. So I need to back it off just ever so slightly. There, it just barely slides on. Now, I wish the end of this big long shaft would come off and go onto this one, or this would unscrew. They Loctited it in there because I was just going to screw this carriage bolt in there that I flattened the end on so I'd have something to tap on because I don't need the big long one. I'm doing the front bearing. I just need this little tiny short piece, short shaft here. I do have a nut that I can screw on here that's semi-flat on the end, and hopefully that'll keep from beating the crap out of the end of this bolt. I will come up with a better solution for this later, but I don't have time right now. Okay, got my tool in there. Like a dream. Now, I'm gonna climb in here and see if I can't get that bearing off of that. Got me a piece of string. I've got that bearing slid out almost far enough. There we go. So all I've done is I've slid that tool in. Oh, I'll get you guys in here, I'll show you. So you can see I got that bearing almost slid off the end of the tool, and I've got the nut on the end of the tools just resting on the next bearing. And I've got that slid off just far enough I can get to the oil hole. I'm going to stick the string down through and grab the other side and hold the string up here. I'll tie it to something, I don't know, maybe the dipstick over here. Doesn't matter. I just don't want to drop that bearing down in there when I try and slide the tool out from inside it. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But if it does, I'm screwed. This string will save me. Come on, Mr. String. There we go. Okay, got Mr. String tied on there. He can't go nowhere. There, got the other end tied around the old brake line over there. So now, should be able to just slide this right off of there like so. And then this bearing come right up out of there like that. Look at that. Fished it right up out of there. All right, so got that bearing all wiped off, guys, and check this thing out. Look how wore out that is. And that's the good side. This side over here, it's just absolutely trashed. It's all galled up, and it's just, it feels like 80 grit sandpaper. That's why we're changing that bearing. Now this is a stock GM bearing, at least I think it is, and it's got a slot on this side and a hole on this side. Our new bearing has a slot on this side and a slot on that side. So that'll give it a little more oil flow. I've also marked it with a permanent marker in the center of both of our holes. And if you look at our block over here, on a standard small block and big block Chevy, they've got a groove around here and a hole in the bottom, hole in the top. And guys kind of have different ways of clocking the bearing to say that it gets the best oil. On this Buick, they've got a big oval slot over here, which is why the stock cam bearing had that oval hole. And then it's got a small circular hole up here at about the 2 o'clock position. And that's where the round hole lined up on the stock bearing. Our new bearing has a slot on both sides, so that should help with oil flow a little bit. I'm just going to line my bearing back up with those 2 holes because obviously GM wants it at 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock or whatever you want to call that, 8 o'clock, somewhere over in there. And we'll tap that bearing in, and then we can get to lubing up our shaft. Get your head out of the gutter. I'm the camshaft, okay? All right, so I got our cam bearing on the tool here. I tried to line it up so that the holes were getting supported by the actual tool instead of the hole being like across the slot like that. But that's about as good as I can get it. If I move that one like that, it kind of starts putting that one there. So we're kind of in the best position we can possibly be in. Got my dead blow here. I'm just gonna line my lines up. There's one line like that, one line like that. And start tapping her in. Now I'm getting close, so I'm gonna pull it out and check on it. Make sure it's going right where we want it to. It looks really good. I can see our hole there. I don't know if I can see the hole there yet. Oh yeah, I can see our hole there. So, it's almost like it needs to go that way just ever so slightly, but I don't think we're gonna be able to do that. And it needs to go in just a little bit further so that it can line up with that. That looks like that's about right where they want it. Now, I'm gonna look up in there and see, make sure that top hole lines up real good. Oh yeah, lines up real good. That hole lines up perfectly. All right, it's time to try and slide this cam in. Now, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of lube just on the cam bearing surfaces on the cam. I'm gonna slide it in all the way, make sure everything fits. And you know, I didn't put that bearing in crooked or something. And then as long as that works, I'm gonna slide it all the way back out, and I'm gonna start lubing up every single lobe and get everything lubed up really good. Now I have this Cam's Cam and Lifter Installation Lube. I also have a bottle of Ultra Slick Permatex. It's all the same stuff, really, I think, guys. I mean, the bottles are even identical. They just got different stickers on them. So, I mean, now I don't know what your political affiliation is, but now's the time to be liberal, according to the bottle. It's not one of those crappy dad jokes of mine. And I'm going to be careful and not bang the back of the cam into anything. Or at least I say that. And then I will. So I'm going to slide this in to the last bearing. As long as it slides in, I'm going to spin it and everything kind of lines up good. Then I'm going to slide it all the way back out real carefully, and then I'll just start lubing every single lobe of the cam. I'll dump this stuff down it, get it all lubed up good. As you can see, I got it all lubed up all the way down in there. And there I can just see the very last cam bearing. So I'm going to drop a little more lube on each bearing all the way down. I'll just drizzle it right down the center of there and make sure I get everything lubed up really good. That one. That one. nice and lubed up. Now the tricky part, that back bearing to line up. There we go. Now it's time to start dropping lifters in. Same process, just oil, lube them up really good. Start dropping them down in there. I'm just gonna take this rag that already has some lube on it and wipe out inside each one of the lifter pockets. Just wipe it out real quick. I mean, I don't think there's anything in there. I've had this engine covered up really good, but I just, you know, makes it so you can sleep at night. And I'll get these lifters in here. Scrub-a-dub-dub, put your lifters in the tub. So as you can see here, I've got my wife's finest pot. Stole it when she wasn't looking, don't let her know. And I got an old Fang brush here. It's actually just a nylon brush. And Camshaft recommends that you clean your lifters with mineral spirits just to get any lube or anything off of them from the manufacturing process. Probably, I'm assuming, whatever they put on them to keep them from rusting or anything during packaging and sitting on the shelf. So I just got some mineral spirits in here, tossed them in here, scrubbed them off with the brush, set them all face down like this so that mineral spirits can get in the hole there and in the hole there, and the actual cam surface isn't sitting on the bottom surface of this old pan that I have. All right, guys, so we're ready to toss the lifters in the car. Last night I was done after I got them out of the wash pan and blew them off real good with the air hose, so I put them back in the box like this. I took a rag, laid it on the lid, tossed it down on them like that, and then flipped them upside down, let them soak overnight just to let all the mineral spirits kind of drip out of them. We don't want it diluting our lube here. So it's time to get them all lubed up and toss them in the engine. But I wanted to show you guys something real quick. I was kind of eyeballing the old front cam bearing out of the car, and you see that little speck of orange there? Chunk of orange? I originally thought that was paint. Somebody had marked it to install it, but it's actually not. It is orange Permatex. The Permatex guy strikes again. I'm telling you guys, if there's one thing that I could not stress enough, it's be very, very, very sparingly with your Permatex when you're trying to help your gasket seal up, because that stuff will get sucked in your engine and pumped all over, block your oil off. I found orange Permatex in this engine. I found it in the cam bearing. I found it in lifters. I found it caked inside the water jackets. It's everywhere, guys. I found it inside the oil pump. Inside the oil pump. Anyway, it's amazing this engine has lasted with, you know, since it was running on half Permatex. Anyway, I'll quit yakking, get some gloves on, get these lifters in here. So, as you can see, I got them all in there. You rotate the cam. Everything moves free, nice and smooth. No binding up, nothing looks sketchy. Everything looks really nice. So, one other thing I am going to do is I've got a little oiling can I got from the old Harbor Freight there. I'm going to put a little bit of my break-in oil in it, and when we go to put the push rods in, I'm going to squirt a little bit of oil on top of every one of these lifters, and it'll be our break-in oil. Camshaft does recommend putting a little bit of oil on top of your lifters. They don't recommend you pump them up or anything crazy like that, but they do recommend that you put a little bit of oil on top of them. So we will do that, and we're going to use our break-in oil because, hey, that makes good sense. So it's time to get the timing chain on here and start bolting the front end of this thing back together. It's just been empty for far too long. All right, it's time to put our timing chain and gears back on here, guys. So what I've done is I've just slid our bottom gear off. I've lubed it up really good, made sure it was clean, slid it back on just a little ways. Now this gear can only go on one direction if the bolt holes actually line up with the cam the way it's supposed to be. I've already got the cam oriented, and now all we've got to do is slide this on here. The way I like to do it is kind of like this, where I've already got the bottom gear on. I can just kind of slide my chain on here, Kind of slide this around so you're not trying to line up 47 things all at once. Kind of got our dots lined up here. You can see how I got that slid out. Now this can just kind of slide on here, like so. And this should slide right up onto the cam. And if all is well, like so, our bolt holes should line up right here. I'll get our bolts and a little bit of Loctite, and we'll toss these bolts in. But yeah, see our dots line up perfectly. Look at that, it's nice and easy. All right guys, so I've got our bolt here. We've actually got 2 bolts. One thing I've learned is you always want to put a little rag back down in here, because you drop this bolt, you know where it's going. It ain't going on the floor. It's either going down the drain or it's going right down in that oil pan. So I just put a rag there and then I know I won't drop it. Now I've got a little bit of Honda lock here. This is actually not Honda lock. It's kind of a mixture of Honda lock and some other thread locker I've had over the years. I just keep refilling this bottle. Just put a drop of that on there. Get our bolt started. Drop of that on there. We got her. Good to go. Now I got my torque wrench set. Should be 22 foot-pounds, which isn't a whole lot, but it's not a lot. Oh, gonna need an extension. Here's that one. So we'll bump it. Give it the good luck bump. There we go. Those should be on there good. Now I'm gonna put a little extra lube on here. Right, like so. We're also going to want a bunch on this fuel pump and the timing, or the distributor gear. Even put some down in here. Just kind of let that stuff run around, do its thing. And get this rag out of here. We've got this little splash guard. This goes on. It just kind of helps keep oil from splashing all over the front main seal, because everybody knows they leak. Of course, we've got the upgraded front main seal, so it doesn't leak as bad. It actually works really well. But this just kind of lets oil get to the bearing, but doesn't let oil sit on the front seal and just leak continuously. So I'm going to let this soak in for a minute. I'm going to grab the rest of my tools, dig out all our bolts and everything so we can start bolting that front cover on there, and I'll meet you guys back here in a few minutes. So I got my cover here, got it all wiped off with alcohol. I got all my bolts over here, got my gaskets. I have to make these gaskets for the bottom edge of the oil pan here that goes down around there. If you guys haven't seen my previous video when I got the car running, I have a video where I make this gasket and put this housing on, do all that stuff. I'll put a link, I think, up here in the top corner somewhere. I don't know. And I'll also put it in the description of the video, so you can go check that out if you need to do that. I'm going to toss you guys up on time lapse. Dad's here, so I got an extra set of hands. And I'm going to get this thing bolted on the old motor here, and we'll keep plugging away. All right, so as you can see, we got the timing cover all bolted back on, got the harmonic balancer on there, and yeah, all I got left to do is bolt everything back on the front of the engine. But as far as the cam's in there, obviously I can't fire it up and break it in for you, so watch for that video. I got to finish up these heads, got to get the intake on it, carburetor, got a lot of work to do there. So I'll be doing the cam break-in, first startup, and all that stuff all in one video. So make sure you go check that out. I'm going to get working on the tops of these heads so I can get those done and get the intake on there. Lots of work to do. So thanks for watching the video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about swapping a cam in or where I got anything or whatever. I'll try and put links in the description for all that stuff, but make sure you ask me questions if you got any. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, like I always tell you guys. And yeah, I'll put some other junk around my melon here, those other videos that I just mentioned, and keep on wrenching. Peace.